At what age is it appropriate to start looking for leadership skills among among the youth? When is it too late to try and reform people? And as we agree that Nigerian youths make up the larger percentage of the population, then it becomes very imperative to try and identify or nurture leadership qualities within them. And then discussing this topic with me on the program today is Mr. Chris Nwani. He's the conveyor, A New Nigeria is Possible. Many thanks for being with us today, Mr. Chris.
Thank you.
Also with us is Mr. Henry Debem. He's the co-author, The Young LIONNA. I like the African vibes I'm feeling with the neck beads and everything. So many thanks for being with us in the studio.
Thank you so much.
So who do we start with now? Let me start with Mr. Chris.
That one, there is hope. Two, it is not too late. Why I say so is that there is no nation in the world that got it right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Even the best of countries of the world. We've seen, if you go through history, you see what they went through. Some of which are not, some of them are not as difficult as what we're facing today. Nation building comes with certain principles. And it takes a people to build a nation. So if the people do not have what it takes to build a nation, they can never get it right. Because whatever you talk about leadership or producing leadership qualities, it's the same people that is in the society that later became leaders. So they can only give what they have. And if over the years Nigeria had existed, we've not really sat down as a people to nurture leadership in the minds of the young people. And they grow up with whatever mentality, is the same thing they will take into leadership. So the truth is that what we have not done in the past is now what we are beginning to do. And we're going to see the results reflect in Nigeria in the nearest future.
Okay, good. There's something he said, and I want to bring it to you, Mr. Henry. He says, you know, people that need like someone to look up to is the way they've always done. Nigeria, I'm sorry to say it, but we haven't really had a lot of leaders that people, the young ones, can really look up to. I know when I was growing up, we had people like, you know, Zeke, Awolowo. We had Pan-Africanist that was a yardstick for younger people to look up to. But now, it might be my own assumption, but you have more, you know, the musicians, people with saggy trousers, or the flashy money, big cars, half-nude people, and that's the kind of role models that most young Nigerians look up to.
There's this part of this question I always want to avoid, asking about the history. How did this whole thing come about? It's not even peculiar, you know, in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
It's also, you know, many black nations still suffer the same thing.
Yeah.
And there's these three main things that happened. And it happened way back during colonization. The slavery era, a lot of things happened. And the three main things that happened that we are still suffering today, which is a reflection of what happened then, is that the treatment with our ancestors, our fathers or mothers, their mothers, passed through, they were dehumanized, dehumanization. They were de-identified. That's where they lost all the self-esteem, everything. Then denatured. The common organic principles that held us together as Africans, as blacks, were completely denatured. So they lost everything about themselves. Now, the main one we are suffering today is the dehumanization part. Dehumanization, let me tell you, there are two things that every man, you know, carries.
Yeah.
The animalistic instinct and the human instinct. The human instinct is a higher knowledge, a higher being.
Absolutely.
Over animal.
Yeah.
So if I take away what makes you a human being, you are virtually an animal. You behave like those you find in the jungle. There's no difference. So let me have that book. I want to just read a quotation.
Give me a book.
Yeah. I also want to have a quotation on that book that will answer most of the questions you are asking. But let me start with this. So this quotation says, every human is born with compassion. Your environment or circumstances only nurture or kill it, but without your permission. Now, what he's saying is that but without your but not without your permission. Pardon me, please.
You must be
Conscious.
You must accept that.
Yes, there's something, even though you don't know when it happens, you know, but there's something. So it's bringing two things here. First one is what you are born with as a human. What makes you a human? So you are a human being. You're not an animal. We are born human. because human will born human. So that element that makes you a human, the compassion, the kindness, the whatever you're talking about, that are elements of leadership, you are born with them, right? Now, the second part, where the permission, without your permission comes in, is your mind. The Young LIONNA Club is actually trying to start creating, that is the permission you're talking about, creating a deliberate and conscious environment that will help these children to grow. And what do? We are approaching this through three-dimensional pedagogy. Pedagogy as model of teaching to these children, and it has to do with the three-dimensional cognitive approach, or approaches to that. One is that in the club, we have trained the teachers to help them, to teach them, based on the content of this book. So they hear what the teacher says. They also have video that they watch in the club. Every club activity will play a video that is in line with the content of the chapter or the lesson they are learning for that week. So we play that video. So they also see visuals that's also saying the same thing that the teacher says, and they also have a book that they read that also say the same thing. So by the time you attack this through this three-dimensional cognitive, you have no other option to start believing that this is what humanity is all about. It's not all about the money. There's a chapter that is one of my favorite chapters that says, leaders are mankind and not money kind.
Some people did not travel this Christmas because of insecurity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if we are our brother's keeper, a robber should not be on the road waiting for his brother to take what he has or kill his brother or many. So these are the aftermath of things we've not done, the orientations we've not given. And if we start now, the beauty of it is that whatever we start to correct now, in a few years, we'll begin to see, the multiplier effects in our society. And I think our society will be better for it.
Good. I just flipped through the pages of this book, Lesson 6, Leaders Are Servants. I love that title because that's one thing that's missing. We forget that leadership is also servitude. You have to learn to serve people. But, the narrative has always been, I'm the boss, I'm the leader, and then it's not that. So I actually like the fact. Another thing I like about the book, because I'm actually flipping through the pages, I like the fact that you used African pictures, African black children, black images to depict, the African child, not the conventional how you see a white child. So that's very commendable. And then also flipping through some of the pages, it has a task bar here where, there are certain tasks you have to do, and then you have to write that you've done it. So that's very, Henry C. Debem and Chris C. Nwani, co-authors of this lovely book, The Young LIONNA. So I must thank you so much for being a part of the program. Also commend you for it's necessary that we need to instill and build that leadership qualities among the youths. They are the next leaders of tomorrow. So that's, we can't flog this horse, for too much. We have to do it. So yes, well done for a good job. And then the age for me works is perfect. 6, 7 formative ages is like a sponge. They're ready to absorb so many things. And then the fact that people are taking out your time, you've done this book and you're trying to pass the message along. I wish you the best.
Thank you so much.